I've been lucky enough today to bump into someone associated with One Yellow Rabbit and the High Performance Rodeo in a pub after one of the shows I've seen. So if you could just please introduce yourself and what you're doing with the festival.
Sure, I'm Mark Hopkins. I'm the associate producer of the High Performance Rodeo, which is produced, of course, by One Yellow Rabbit. And yeah, future reference, the pub is the best place to run into people like us.
Perfect. How long have you been involved with the festival?
This is my 6th High Performance Rodeo, so somewhere in the neighborhood of 5.5 years been with the Rabbits.
And is it always as associate producer, or?
No, I started as sort of I think I was on a summer student grant the first time I came around. I was helping write some grants and general admin. I've had most of the jobs that you can have at One Yellow Rabbit. I've been the, admin assistant, box office manager, executive assistant, outreach coordinator, and I've been the associate producer for about a year and a half now.
Nice. Well, working for 6 years with the festival, what are some of the main differences you've seen over the years?
It's been really wild to see the festival grow. We're certainly able to achieve a bigger scale now than when I started. We're bringing in like huge shows from Iceland, where like last year we did a show called Lucha Vavoom from LA, which is Mexican wrestling and burlesque, which was in the Stampede grounds. Like these are things that we couldn't have imagined doing when I started at the company, and I think that just speaks to the increasing sort of knowledge and respect that people have for the rodeo and willingness to jump on board as partners and sponsors and so on. I've also seen what's been really exciting is we now, like increasingly since I started with the company, the High Performance Rodeo is really a sandbox for all the major companies in Calgary. So we've been partnered with Theatre Calgary now for, I think this is our 5th year partnering with them.
Nice.
Allowing them to do shows that wouldn't normally fit into their season, like this year Metamorphosis from Iceland, but in previous years Frankenstein, Ubuntu, shows that, you know, really are great for Theatre Calgary, but they wouldn't necessarily be able to support on their own. We've worked with Vertigo Theatre, and this year for the first time Alberta Theatre Projects, Alberta Ballet, Calgary Opera. It's really cool to see so many of these staple institutions of the city jumping onto the festival and really believing in what we're doing.
Nice. How do you think this festival setting, I mean, you've already been mentioning all these other theatre companies, but how do you believe it helps the smaller theatre companies? I mean, Theatre Calgary has been established for a long time, but what about some of the smaller ones?
It's a really cool thing. You know, we're bringing in acts from all over the world, from every corner of every place you can imagine, and these are the world's best artists. We've had, as artists in residence the past couple of years, Laurie Anderson, Brian Eno, Philip Glass, just incredible, oozing talent. And what's great about the festival is that those people are on display in the same context as an emerging company from Calgary or Edmonton or, you know, the local community. And in a single evening, audiences can see both, you know, Brian Eno and a really small show from just down the street. For the emerging artists, that really asks you to step up, because if you know you're in the same festival as Laurie Anderson, you can't just figure out something overnight and pull it out of your ass.
You can't do shit.
No, exactly. You've got to bring it. And it's also a really good chance. Like, these companies otherwise wouldn't really have the opportunity to be seen by the audiences that are seeing them. A lot of people come to the rodeo because it is the rodeo, and will take a chance on a show they might not otherwise take a chance on. So, yeah, I mean, I wear a couple hats during the rodeo. I'm also the co-artistic director of Swallow Bicycle Theatre, which has been fortunate enough for the past 6 years to do a number of shows at the rodeo. And that's exactly our experience, that we're getting people that probably would never have heard of us otherwise that are coming out to our shows.
That's perfect. Final question for you. What would you say are the 3 must-see shows of this year?
Man, it's been a good year. Some shows that have already passed. Loved Metamorphosis, I mentioned it already. It's all the way from Reykjavik and just a wildly theatrical ride. Ride the Cyclone out of Victoria was just this crazy musical. I saw it twice. It was epic. And closing tonight is Alberta Ballet's Up Close, which is breathtaking. I've never seen ballet dancers doing what they're doing on that stage.
It was amazing, yeah.
Wild. Coming up, I'm super excited for the Sonic Waves, which is a project. We're taking 4 of Calgary's best singer-songwriters and sending them to Reykjavik for a week. They're going to work with 2 singer-songwriters in Reykjavik, and the whole bunch of them is going to come back and perform whatever they've come up with over that period, which I'm super pumped for. We've also got the Walrus Talks. We partnered with the Walrus magazine for the 2nd time this year, basically bringing some of Canada's greatest contemporary minds into a room together to talk about the topic of performance, which is just, we're in the Jack Singer Concert Hall and it's selling like gangbusters. It's going to be a really, really fun night full of ideas. But yeah, I mean, what's great about the festival is just the surprises that you can, in a single night, you can see 2 One Yellow Rabbit productions. You can see People You May Know and Schlachter Tango right after each other in the same theater. And you're probably not going to know what to expect with either of those because they're new shows to Calgary that are, slightly bizarre in their approach to things. So that's what I love about the rodeo is that you can come and not really know what you're in for, but know it's going to be excellent.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time.
So after our break was done, we were able to go into a little bar called Speakeasy. For those on Twitter world, it's at Just Cocktails. Tweet them. They actually tweet you back pretty quick. Also check out at HP Rodeo and at One Yellow Rabbit on Twitter. That, of course, is One Yellow Rabbit's Twitter account and High Performance Rodeo. They update you with everything that's happening, so it'll also keep you informed for what's going to be happening next year. And it's also just great because you can tweet them just what you thought of the shows. They love the feedback, and they tend to respond pretty quickly, and they will comment on your own views and opinions of the shows, which is just a great thing because, again, that's just reaching out and connecting with people involved in this festival. So hopefully all those artists out there, whether they want to start their own theater company or be involved in one, will get that chance to do so. So in this bar, we were able to see a performance by an Irish traveling group, as I said earlier, called Pony Dance. And this was an experience in of itself. Of course, at first, Pony Dance, I immediately thought of
Oppan Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style.
Had to throw that one in there. I saw this one too. No idea how a horse would fit in a bar, but it would be cool. Instead, we were introduced to these colorful characters. It was a great show, audience participation, love it. It was so interactive. You weren't safe no matter where you were, but you weren't ignored at all. If they could make eye contact with you, they did. If they could joke with you, they would. If they can land on your lap, well, they're gonna land on your lap. Brace yourself. It was so fun, even being called a creep and a perv right at the beginning. It made me felt like I was part of the family. Really creepy part of the family, Irish buggers. But it was a very different experience. I mean, I think that was kind of what fringe festivals and sort of festivals like this are about, are getting these funny little comedy troupes coming in. And the dance they did was still really good. It was really impressive. I was amazed by the timing. It wasn't dancing for dancing's sake. It was dancers who were doing a comedy piece as well. It'd be interesting to see what came first, their idea to have a dance show and make it funny, or being funny, doing this comedy sketch, and then throwing in, oh, why don't we do the dancing? Loved the fact that they got our very own resident stars in. I think 3 of our classmates were involved. We got CJ, Benton, and Daniel, who all got in. Daniel, of course, having, such class. Really, the eyes. Always talk about the eyes. Or the ginger hair. We like that. Anyway, the dancing was great, and the comedy was just so quick and smart and right on timing and cue, right on pace. That's what I want to say. Because you can't just come in, attempt to be funny, and expect that, if you're just walking around in your underwear, everyone will laugh. No, you gotta sell it. You gotta be dedicated to what you're doing. I also like how they were unapologetic. There you go, say that 3 times fast. There was a moment where they wiped the ground of the water rag and then just threw it over their shoulder. Hit someone right in the face. Kicked a cup. Hit somebody right in the leg. That was that. That was them. They were here to be these characters and to do this show for us. And they did. They entertained. That was the big thing. They were an entertainment crew. And we had a lot of fun. It'd be interesting to see what would have happened if they were the last show we saw that night. I think the bus ride home would have been a little more crazy. Also, because the bar probably would have been open a little longer. Yeah, now that I think about it, that might have been a good idea that we didn't see them last. Especially making sure that Daniel actually got back on the bus. Our final performance. The People You May Know. One Yellow Rabbit. I really liked it. It was a completely different pace than what we had before, but of course, we can't just see high energy dance shows every single time because not everyone writes high energy dance shows. This just shows High Performance Rodeo is a diverse festival. We are not going to be seeing the same things over and over again, but at the same time, we're going to be seeing really cool, innovative pieces like People You May Know. I love the entire idea of it. I thought it was so cool because it was something that all these techno geeks now haven't even thought of. This is the first time I've seen it, and that technology is 10 years old. I mean, this is mature actors looking at something that's been around for a while and making it their own. But these people turned them into characters and made a great show out of it. The story probably came second, because these characters had to come first. That was what the driving point was. They also didn't hide anything about this play. It was what it was. They were people staring into a Mac, kind of like what I'm doing, distorting their faces. But then they had to make sure it always looked the same, that they always did the same gestures in their chairs, whether they had to tilt their computer, raise it up, little hand gestures, everything like that. And it had to be so precise. So it would have been pretty hard to think of all that stuff, plus have a ridiculously insane story. I'm not saying the story was poor or weak. I'm just saying it unfortunately took a backseat to everything else that was happening on stage. What was happening on stage was 3 veteran performers putting on a great new idea for a show, using just their own ability to characterize. I don't think anyone would have expected something like that first going in. I mean, the picture doesn't say too much. You can kind of assume that it was going to be a little bit trippy. But it was just so cool, and I like the fact that you could see the performers as well. I think it would have an entirely different feel if you just saw these floating faces. I think you needed to see just how they did, how little sometimes you need to perform in order to do a huge change on stage, or in this case on screen. It ended up being a low pace, and from what I've read from a few of you, some people didn't like it just because, I don't know, it wasn't Pony Boy. I mean, there weren't Irish, almost naked girls in front of you. I feel that's a bit of a shame, because maybe if we had seen that one before, it would have been seen better, but we saw something that was so high energy, and then we walked into something that you have to sit, you have to stare, you kind of got to think, and you got to look outside the box as to why this is entertaining, instead of just why you are being entertained. Look at it from a creative aspect. Don't diss it for the fact that you guessed the storyline at the end. Of course. I mean, I would assume everyone potentially could have seen that coming. It was let up like that. Oh no, we have dark, evil, money-greedy guys. Oh, we have naive people who own RV Planet. Congrats. But the aspect that of how they did this performance, that is what is awesome. So give them credit for that, because that is really creative. And that was really enjoyable part of the show. So there's my first vlog, I guess, video blog. I don't know the lingo. I'm not actually that techno savvy either. Hopefully you enjoy.